Welcome to the eighth episode of Longshots. Today we have Colin Henry, who's a budding hip hop and recording artist. And thanks for doing this, man, because we had this all scheduled out for, I don't
For a
know, was that
while now,
end
yeah.
of March, March 29th, actually. It was the first time that you and I were supposed to meet. And obviously we got pushed back because of COVID. We did an IG live, which was cool, but it's still not the same. So now, like, I'm happy to have you on. And when I first heard about you, we had a mutual friend, and he was just like, "Yo, you got to check out my boy, um, Colin Henry. His music's being featured all over the internet, man, on the NBA's Instagram and so like I just I wanted to reach out to you. You're from Brick, New Jersey. That's an unlikely spot for
Yeah.
a rapper to emerge, and I just by meeting with you briefly, I knew that you were just like all about like you're passionate about this full of it. You know what I mean, and you want
hmm
this to be your life. So yeah, I just wanted to take the time today, and thanks again for coming up here. This is our first time in this studio. It's pretty dope. He's
Yeah,
got this nice
it's nice
setup
in here.
here.
It's
Yeah,
nice. It's vibing
Little Cheddar Studios
here.
up here in Brooklyn. Carmine,
Yeah.
thank you. Mike, thanks for having us. And so yeah, so music has always been a part of your life, obviously.
hmm
Um, so like growing up? Was it always hip hop?
At first, no.
Okay.
It gradually became hip hop. I gradually became a fan of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first music that I could remember as a kid was the Beatles and Michael Jackson, Jackson Five,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Totally.
My mother used to listen to Bruce Springsteen a lot, Bon Jovi,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson. My dad was really into rock, so my dad used to listen to the Beatles, Pearl Jam. He also used to listen to like Neil Young,
Right.
the Stones,
Cool.
etc. So I grew up with that at first, specifically the Beatles and Michael Jackson is the first, and that to me
Me too.
those are
Me
the
too.
two. That's like the standard, the highest standard that you can get. I think Michael Jackson's like the greatest entertainer to ever live, and I think the Beatles are the greatest band to
Dude,
ever
that's
exist in
my favorite
music.
band of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was a fan of them first, and by the time I was about 5 or 6 years old, it was 2001, 2002, and that was when Eminem and Jay Z and
Mm-hmm.
all them were coming out, and that's kind of when I fell in love with hip hop. I was watching MTV or something like that. One of
Right.
the videos, or was my older brother used to watch them, and yeah, I saw Eminem on TV, and I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And then obviously, early 2000s Eminem is like the
Oh
craziest
yeah, for sure.
artist
Yeah.
ever, in my opinion. He's just said the craziest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell in love with it there, and it just been a love and a passion ever since. So
Cool, man. Cool. Now, like for me, like music just like means so much to me. Like at all times of the day, I'm listening to something.
yeah.
Um, and I going through you know shit in life, and even one thing like music does something for me that like um not everybody shares that same love, but like music
hmm
kind of like helped me put myself like back together when I was going through like a really really like shitty time, and like it's always there for me, you know what I mean?
hmm
And is it across all genres that you feel that way about music, or is it just anything specific? Do you just listen to hip hop now, or
No, no,
uh,
I listen to a bunch of different genres, but
mm-hmm.
mostly I listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
No, but there's definitely other genres that I'll listen to that
Mm-hmm.
like make me feel something. Any type of music, any type of good music,
Cool.
will make me feel happy, sad, whatever, just all the emotions. It's
Right.
not just hip hop. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's what's a beautiful thing about music, because
yeah.
like I had mentioned earlier, like it's always there for you, and no matter like how corny it is or whatever it is, like if
hmm
I'm into it, like that's
You
like
like what you like.
yeah, I
That's
mean
it.
like yeah, exactly, and that's the moment, you know what I mean, and it's just the greatest way for like a guy like me who doesn't play an instrument. Like it's just like a great way of like expression for how I'm feeling, and like will literally carry me through that moment, and it's just like the most like one of the most like beautiful releases throughout time for everyone. You know what I mean? And yeah, and it's cool to see that like you're so into like 'cause you're a college graduate. You're not like 1,000% like able to do this on your own. You have to have that side gig, but yet like you're taking. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, balancing that and still giving this most of your attention.
You saying like work life with
Yeah,
the
yeah, work
music?
life with your passion. Yeah, like
Um,
right,
I
because the
mean, it's
dream has
not.
to be financed, right?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Well,
right,
it's not easy.
right.
Basically, work, get money, and go to work again. And but what I mean by that is go to work, day job, whatever, 9 to 5. Make money off that, and then when I get home, I'm writing music, listening to beats. I'm trying to find an emotion, trying to find a song to write, trying to find whatever I'm feeling, to put it on paper and then put it on the record. Marketing my own stuff. I'm going to the studio. I'm booking studio sessions. I'm booking photo shoots. I'm doing this. So really, the grind never stops, no matter what. For me, I'm up till 2, 3, 4 a.m. writing music every night, every single night. I try and write at least a song, if not every day, every 2 or 3 days. That's just how it's been for me for years. So there's the 10,000 hour rule, whatever. If you do something for 10,000 hours, you'll become a master at it, whatever.
Right, right.
It's one of those things. Like it never stops. You can't if you really want to if you really want it, like if you really really want it, then you have to, fuck all the excuses, do whatever you want. You got to stay
Right.
on your grind. You got to do everything that you can possible. And like you said, I do most of everything by myself.
That's awesome.
Right? I go to the studio. I have an engineer, like I mentioned before.
Right.
I have videographers and people who take photos of me and shoot my videos. But I am the artistic direction behind the videos, the artistic direction behind the songs. I write all my own music. I produce some of my music. So it just really never stops.
Did you is that stuff that you just learned by just kind of doing it, or I mean, did you have some of that
Yeah.
training in school?
No, I had
No.
no training in music. Honestly, my training was just listening to music. That was it.
Right on. And
So-
now, when did you decide to like, because like as an artist, you got to start. You can create in private, but eventually, as an artist, you want to start to
Yeah.
share that. So when was like the first time you started to like share, and how fucking uncomfortable was that?
Oh man. Honestly, the first time I ever rapped in front of somebody, I must have been in 7th grade or 8th grade, so I was probably 12, 13 years old or something
Cool.
like that.
So you didn't have like 12, 13 years old. You don't give a shit.
Yeah, I really had nothing to write about.
Right,
Honestly, I didn't really
right.
have that much life experience or anything
Right,
crazy
yeah,
to
right.
like write about at that age.
Right,
But what I
right,
did one day,
right.
and this is the weirdest moments in my life always revolve around music. Like when I'm younger, like now I remember things specifically from when I was younger that it always has to do with some type of music, which is weird. But anyway, I got off the bus on my way home from school. I just had this weird urge to go and write, just a rap or rhymes or whatever in this black and white composite notebook, the black and white composite
yeah.
notebooks or whatever.
Sure.
So I went and wrote probably like a page and a half, and I brought it with me. And the next day at school, on the bus, I like recited it to some of my friends. And like at the time, like now that I look back on it, it was terrible. Obviously, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
that was the first time like I rapped in front of them and like everyone in the back of the school bus. And they were like, they thought it was like awesome. Because obviously like they don't know.
Yeah.
Neither did I really. But
Right.
they were just like, yeah, it's awesome, blah blah. They were like gassing me up, going crazy.
Right.
And then yeah, so that was the first time. And then after that, I was just writing little freestyles over other people's beats. And then by the time I was 17, so fast forward to junior year in high school, I started, writing or whatever, and I did it again. I was like, you know what? I got home from school one day, and I just wrote a freestyle to Headbands by B.O.B.,
Mm-hmm.
that song.
Yeah.
And I did it for my friends, just like maybe 5 or 6 friends, like group of friends. And they were going crazy over it. And they were like, yo, you got to do this at like a party or something. Like you got to, you got to write another one and you got to.
Right.
So they kind of were the ones that were like, gave me that initial confidence,
Good.
and
It's good
kind
to
of
have
pushed me.
friends
And they
like
were
that,
like, yo,
man.
this is actually pretty good and witty. And like what you're saying is, they thought it was good. So I just kept writing them, and I'd go to a party with 30, 40, 50, 60 people, however big the party was over the weekend. And I would just do these freestyles over different beats, different Meek Mill beats, different Jay-Z beats,
Right.
different etc. So that was when I started performing. I guess was
Yeah.
for my first type of live performance, and then it just kept growing from there. So
That's sick. Now, what time? At what point did you be like? Were you like, all right, well, I'm gonna take this pretty seriously? Like, was it like later when you got into?
it was when I got into college.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was a sophomore in college. I was 19,
Mm-hmm.
something. I was still, when I got to college, like throughout the rest of high school, I was continued writing or whatever, but I didn't record anything. I never recorded anything. I never thought I would ever want to record anything, but the
Right.
passion just kept
Mm-hmm.
growing and growing. So when I got freshman year of college, I started writing in my dorm, and then sophomore year of college is when I was like, you know what? I should take this serious, because like all my friends at college that I met, I was doing the same thing, writing freestyles, and that's when I really started to write over original beats.
Right.
Because at first I started writing over other people's beats.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started, maybe I'll take this to the next step, challenge myself a little more,
Yeah.
and be completely original in, the beat selection and everything like that. So I started doing that. And then I was like, maybe I should record this, because I know people. I have a little bit of an audience now, is what I thought.
Yeah.
Which was true. I did have a little bit of an audience. So I started recording in a closet on a shitty microphone, probably like a $40 microphone, and I just recorded an entire mixtape, all original beats. The first time, actually no, I think I had some remixes on there. Most of the project was original beats, and then I put it out on SoundCloud in 2016, and that really started the whole journey of taking it serious, and kind of snowballed into.
So that
where I'm
was
at
like the
today.
first time where you were like, oh, he's like, I could fucking do this.
Yeah, I had a couple songs. Not in hindsight, they were obviously not good, but compared to where I'm at now, but it was a good starting point. It was
Right.
something where I could
Yeah.
build off of, and
Just that little bit. That's all you need.
that's it. And then
That's
when I
it.
put it out, it got like 1,000 plays in like a week or something like that. And
Sick.
to me, 1,000 plays was like,
For sure. It's
holy
a lot.
shit! I never thought I'd get 1,000 plays on anything. That
Yeah.
wasn't even a thought in my mind. And when it happened, I was just like, you get dopamine and all this crazy. You're like, holy shit!
Yeah, yeah.
Dopamine rush, and you're like,
Yeah.
this
I
feels
just want to do
awesome.
more. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to do more. So then I kept, putting out songs, and then turned into a project, and then turned into another project, and then so on and so forth. So
That's sick. So now, are you in a spot where you're still doing all the marketing? You're still doing all the production? Like what have you kind of given some creative freedom to other people you work with, or?
Yeah, a little bit in some areas, production wise. I have a bunch of producers that I met online.
Okay.
That'll email me beat packs, or I'll email back and forth. They'll send me to like their beat store or whatever, because a bunch of producers have beat stores on BeatStars and their own websites, TrackTrain, whatever. So I'll lease beats from them. I'll buy beats off of them, and then I'll add my own production afterwards, or I'll just create a beat in studio
Right.
with my engineer. Mostly, it's getting beats from producers that I know, because after you work with producers and you have a couple songs that are good
Right.
and sound good, you kind of start building their relationships and networking, which is the biggest part in music and business, really, is networking.
Sure.
So, yeah, I get beats from them. I kind of always have, in terms of the other creative aspects, the only other person that I really let kind of help and guide my music is my engineer.
And is that like somebody you've met through like
I met him
networking,
through
or is
a
this like a
mutual
guy you
friend,
grew up
actually.
with?
Kind of how
Okay.
me and you met is how I met my
Okay.
engineers, through a mutual friend.
Cool.
So when I was first recording music, I was in a shitty, like I said, shitty $40 mic in like a closet in some random guy's house. And my friend came out with a song. He's not a rapper or anything, but he just came out with a song, and the quality sounded, way, way better, leagues above what I was doing. And he knew that I was like trying to take it serious, so
Right.
he was like, "Yo, you should meet my friend." Blah blah blah. So I went over his house, and he had a pretty, legit setup, and went in there and started recording, and just built a relationship from there. So, shout out Mixed by Ray, by the way. That's my engineer. I had to plug him in real quick.
Where's that at?
He's in Tom's River.
Tom's River?
Yeah, New
Cool.
Jersey.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, what what are some of the obstacles that you've faced like getting into this? All of it, like from production to like overcoming the fear of actually like taking it to that next level, like being accepted by a fan base, like, how do you deal with all that?
It's not easy at first, because obviously everyone is always concerned with, oh, what are people going to think of this? What are they going to, it's not a normal career path. It's not like,
Yeah.
You go to college and you get a job, and you get a good paying job, you meet a girl, you get married, you have kids,
Yeah.
blah, blah, all that, the regular life. When you deviate off that path and you don't go down what everyone expects you to go down,
Right.
people start to question it. They might get a little envious and jealous, and all these different things come in.
yeah.
So they might, there's, and like I was conscious of that the entire time. It was really just kind of getting over the fact that, I really don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. I don't really
Right.
care what my peers or
Right.
my friends or even my family think. It's just like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what makes me happy, and I know that I'm good at it, and I
Yeah.
know that I can always get better at it.
Yep.
So if I'm at a certain level, I know I can always go up another notch or go up another level, and just do what I want to do. Honestly, like I said before, it's easier said than done.
Right.
But it's really, you gotta just, for lack of a better term, just grow a set of balls and just go for it and
Absolutely.
do it. So.
Absolutely. So now, like, we're talking about you just kind of being focused and doing what you want to do and not really caring what anybody thinks. And you're getting I'm sure, some noise from the people that love you. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Like, where's that fallback plan, right? Like that security. And then the NBA starts to feature some of your music. And tell me a little bit. That must have felt good, right?
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
at first, the WNBA featured my music. So the Chicago Sky and the LA Sparks were the first two to feature it. But the song Motivation released in October of 2019. I don't think it got featured by the WNBA until January. So it was a couple months. It was a slow grind to get to that point. But once they featured, my music, because it was just random one day on Instagram. I just opened my Instagram and I got tagged in a post, and it was like, the LA Sparks with the little blue check mark, and I was like, tag me in the post or whatever. I was like, the hell is this? So I clicked on the video, and it was like a highlight tape using my song, and I was like, wow, obviously, yeah, it did feel good, to answer your question.
Yeah.
But and then it just kept snowballing from there. It was just like the Chicago Sky, LA Sparks, and then on Twitter, the NBA used my song for like 8 weeks or something like that, like in a row, for like their top 10 plays of the week. So they'll post like top 10 plays of the week during the season, and they used my song as like the background music and with some of the lyrics and everything like that, which was cool because I think the NBA is like 30 million followers on Twitter or something like that,
insane.
something crazy.
Right.
Obviously, it's a huge corporation and business, but and then the Milwaukee Bucks used it for a highlight tape or whatever. And they had the best record in the NBA, not the biggest market in Milwaukee, but they had the best record in the NBA, one of the best players in the league, and Giannis.
Yeah.
So, it was a good feeling. It really was. It
now,
was kind of gratifying.
How does a guy from Brick that just ran with his passion get in front of the NBA? How does that happen?
United Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when we were talking before off camera, United Masters is like really the company I think to be with if you're an independent artist.
Okay.
Like, TuneCore and, CD Baby and DistroKid, all these other, distributors. They're good and fine and everything, and I've used TuneCore and DistroKid. United Masters has all those opportunities. So I saw the opportunity that, you can get your music featured by the NBA, have it on NBA 2K, which was my original goal, was to get it on the soundtrack for the NBA 2K, the game, because I play 2K all the time. I love 2K, right? So I wanted to get it on the soundtrack. Didn't end up happening, but they ended up using the song for all their media, on Instagram and Twitter, everything that I just mentioned. So it was really going through them and kind of going out on a limb and saying, you know what, I'm going to submit my song. I don't know if it's going to make it. I don't know if they're going to use it for this opportunity or not, but I might as well try it out because, who knows what's going to happen. So that's what I did. I went through them, and they came through, I guess. They used my song for all of it, so.
And that's like, for an independent artist, you said that's like they take care of the distribution of everything.
Yeah, so they get it on Spotify, they get it on Apple Music, TikTok, Deezer, all that, YouTube, all that. So just like any other distributor.
Okay.
But the difference is they have those opportunities, like 2K and just NBA and Tesla. They have Cash App. They have a bunch of different things. If you go on their website, and you want to sign up, you're going to see all those different opportunities, and that's the difference between them and the other distributors.
Now, is it easier? So obviously, with coupling those, like that platform with like something like, are you doing like anything else authentic to you to kind of grow your fan base? Like, is there any
in terms of what?
Like marketing?
Yeah. I mean, there's social media.
Yeah,
that's really one of the biggest marketing tools for.
Like, were you like doing like some like small shows or anything locally?
Oh yeah. I was doing shows mostly in Monmouth County.
Okay.
Particularly Asbury and Long Branch.
Nice.
So I was doing shows there since 2017. Obviously, I haven't been able to do shows lately,
right?
Because of everything that's going on, but. In 2017, I started doing shows at the Saint and House of Independence, and I did a couple shows in Brighton Bar and Long Branch, and just a bunch of venues around there. It was mostly the Saint for the most part. I did a bunch of shows there.
Yeah, everybody. A lot of people run through there.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of good shows there too. I had great turnouts there. So, and that was another hurdle to get over because everyone's like, all right, you're putting out this music and everything, but I want to see you live. Like, you haven't done any live shows. I want to see you live. And that was like, at that point, around 2017, like I said, that was the next hurdle to get over. I was like, all right, I should start doing live shows because people want me to do live shows. Yeah. So I started doing them. You get more comfortable with it. You get better at it.
Yeah. What was that like, that first show?
To be honest with you, I don't really get too nervous in front of people like that. I know it might sound weird because I feel like a lot of people, there's obviously a little bit of nerves. Like, I'm not gonna say I wasn't nervous. But
you were excited.
Yeah, I was excited. Yeah. You get a few drinks in you, and your nerves kind of settle, and then you just get on the stage, and it's just like the same thing when I first started creating music. It's like, fuck what everyone else says or thinks. Like, I'm just gonna go and perform the songs that I know, and I'm gonna bring the energy or whatever, and try and feed off the crowd a little bit and see what happens. And most of the crowd is people I know, and even if it's not, it could be a potential new fan, so
Absolutely.
Someone that will invest in you to create that fan base. So
yeah, it's super. Like, Carmine and I were talking about that, like how important it is to get an authentic audience, rather than like just, because there's ways to appeal or to put yourself in front of like the masses by buying like followers and stuff like that. But if somebody,
I know a lot of artists that do that.
Yeah, sure. Like a ton of people do that, for podcasts and things like that. They buy
small businesses.
Absolutely.
Everyone who's
and it's just better for somebody that it's invaluable for somebody to like your stuff and carry your message for you.
And invest in you as a brand, as a person, as an artist.
The following and the unfollowing is exhausting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so time consuming. I mean, it's effective it 1000% is effective, but like I just like we were just talking about it like a week or two ago, like that it's just better for the show. And for in your case, you know, like some people love your music, like they're gonna be like, "Yo, check out my boy Colin." You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
that was a lot of that's how I got a lot of fans too. It's because it starts off with friends and family and people you know,
Yep.
and then it's word of mouth. Right,
Yes.
that's a
Always.
huge.
That's the
It
yeah.
always has been a huge
It's
marketing tool.
undefeated.
Yeah,
Undefeated in
word of
marketing.
mouth is honestly like the best,
Yeah,
in my
for
opinion.
sure. Yeah.
And when people say, "Yo, check out and I have like I call them my unofficial A&Rs, which is like my family, or like my brother, my cousins, my dad, everyone, my friends. When they're in a car with somebody, one of their friends that I don't know, or one of their family members or whatever, they'll just put on like my music, and they won't at first. They might not say who it is, and people will be like, "Oh, who is this? This is good," and they'll be like, "Oh, this is my brother, this is my son, or this is whatever." So they're constantly out there like.
That's great.
Yeah, kind
Pumping
of
it.
pushing my music and
Yeah.
stuff like that. As much as I am, really.
Great.
They're just doing it. I'll do it mostly online. They're doing it word of mouth because I don't really feel comfortable meeting somebody for the first time or seeing people I don't know and automatically
Bumble date. Be like, "Yo, listen to this."
Yeah, no, like I don't really feel comfortable doing that. It's a
Right.
little weird, but they do it for me. So.
You got some new music coming out?
I do. I have
Well, you just released a single like during quarantine, right? Did you? Or was it right before?
I released a single, Angel, with my friend Tony Marone. That was for two MLB players, Hunter and Braden Bishop, for their mother who passed away from Alzheimer's. So they wanted to use it as a walk-up song, and they wanted me to make a song for the foundation that they have in their mother's name called For Mom. And so me and him did that. It was something that obviously we took very serious, and it was one of the most gratifying, things or songs that I've ever done in my career so far. So yeah, we did that, and unfortunately, the MLB and everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And all the sports got shut down. So now that everything's starting back up, hopefully, they'll use it for the walk-up song still and everything like that. But
Sweet.
I released that a couple months ago. I'm releasing another single called 10 Toes Down for this EP that I'm coming out with next month. The EP's coming out next month. The single's going to be out July 31st. So that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So, and then other than that, just keep making music. I have a lot of songs written, hundreds of songs written that I need to still go in the studio and record. So
now, has that sound evolved from like? I mean, obviously that's like a progression that I think every artist probably wants, right? I mean, you can't stay the same.
Yeah, of course not.
So how has your music evolved like through the time? Is it some like different genres of music in there, or is it like, you know what I mean? Like, is it like you ever use any? I don't know. I mean, have you yet used like any other instruments or anything like that in any of your music?
Yeah. At first, I was rapping to really get respect from people. That was my main goal, and that still is my main goal, is just for people to respect the fact that like I'm good at my craft and they acknowledge that. That's really it. But I was really rapping in the beginning, metaphors, double entendres, really witty stuff and fast flows, and just to show off the skill of rapping, right? And then it evolved to slowing it down a little bit, making more, cohesive songs, better hooks, things like that. On my last album that I did called Astral, I have, guitar solos in there. I have other things like that, bass and everything like that. So acoustics, and so there are other elements. It's not just like, trap drums, a drum kit, and
Right. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So, but for the new EP that I'm coming out with, it's really Southern style influenced and West Coast. So it's Memphis, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, and like the Bay Area. Like if I were to kind of pick three places or three styles of hip hop to really that kind of sums up what the next project sounds like, it's that. So it's really trap inspired in terms of like the drums and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's really smooth. It's very smooth. The beats are smooth. the 808 patterns and the drum patterns
Right.
and the melodies. It's real smooth in the way I'm, you know, rapping over it and the way I'm talking over it. It's real smooth. The content, the stuff I'm talking about is really smooth. So it's gonna be called the Smooth Summer EP. That's why. So it's really summer music and it's real, like I said,
Yeah.
smooth. So
Yeah.
other than
It's
that,
hot out, so it's kind of mellow.
yeah.
Right.
So it's inspired by like UGK and Juicy J
Okay.
and honestly that
Are you working with any other artists? Like, did you sample like anything from anybody?
I don't think
those three areas of the country. Like, is it like anybody? You working with anybody from those areas that kind of like?
I'm working with two artists. One, I think they're both from the East Coast. One's from New York, one's from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave them kind of the direction and kind of the mood that I wanted. Like I said, it's really Southern influenced.
Okay.
But it's still me. It's still East Coast lyrically. It's not anything crazy. I'm not going crazy. Like I said, I kind of stripped it back, slowed it down.
Right.
And really wanted to just make it fun. It's really just a fun vibe. And this artist named 609 Boogie or Kid Boogie, he's going to be on it. And another artist named Kev is going to be on it. And yeah, those are the only two features. I only have 6 songs, so I didn't want to go crazy with the features.
No, that's cool.
So I kept it those two, but they're both from the East Coast, like I said. But the vibe, it meshes well. The production is Southern style, but the lyrics and the content is more.
Yeah, and like you said,
it's more
it's
New
just
Jersey,
fun.
New York.
Yeah.
It's more tri-state area, East Coast. Still, just I stay grounded in my style.
Right.
And I like to experiment in terms of production or whatever. And use all these different influences that I have in my life through music, kind of put my own spin on it. So
Nice, dude. Now, are you as a production guy as well? Do you have anybody that's gotten your ear that you kind of want to help come along?
there's a couple of producers that I've met online that I email with back and forth, like I mentioned before as well.
Right.
For this style in particular, there's 2 producers online. One's Balance Cooper and the other one's Background. Those are the names of the producers, and they're really. I think Background has like 3 out of the 6 songs on the EP. Produced 3 out of the 6 songs, and Balance Cooper produced 1, I think, 1 or 2. So they have most of the EP. So I went to them, and one of them's from Memphis, Tennessee. Background's from Memphis, Tennessee. And I think Balance Cooper is from Germany or something like that. I think he's from Europe. But anyway, they encapsulated the style that I wanted, and I just went with them. I knew there was never really a conversation of, oh, I want to go in this direction. It was like, here, I have a beat pack, listen to it, or I have beats on my beat store, listen to it. Went and listened to it, and I just liked a bunch of their beats, and that's how the project came about.
Sick.
It was like, I just like this beat, or whatever. They all kind of had a similar style. And I just wrote to them, and they sounded good, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make an EP out of this, so.
And that's all kind of how.
Yeah, so it was really those 2. I just went back and forth and kind of just wrote to a bunch of their beats, and then picked which songs I liked the best, recorded them, and then turned into an EP.
So did you have to turn away some songs that you recorded?
Yeah, what I think I'm going to do is put them on a
Somebody
deluxe.
have to rip it from your hands?
Yes, some of them.
Right.
It's really me and Ray at the end of the day, my engineer, who come up with the final checklist, and we come up with the final decision on it. I mean, it's really ultimately my final decision, but I respect his ear and I respect his opinion.
Right.
On in terms of when the music comes out, and what music comes out. So I think I'm gonna do a deluxe later on, maybe 3 or 4 songs that weren't gonna be originally on the project, but I change my mind on this every day, so.
That's great, man.
You never know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so going through this, your passion obviously is, screaming through this interview. What are you going to say what do you say to the young kid that's like thinking about starting up, Like right now he's just like, "Oh, I don't know, but I don't know if I can do it."
Yeah. I would say Well, first of all, you got to work hard. That's A1.
Yeah.
Or rule number 1. 2, you don't have to care what anybody else thinks or says about you.
Right.
Family, whether that's family or friends, those are the 2 most important people, or 2 most important groups that you value their opinion the most. So if you really want to do something and you really want to be an artist, no matter what it is, just don't listen to what anyone else says. Do what you do. Trust your own ideas. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Have integrity. And just go for it, dude. There's one life to live. Why not do what you want to do while you live it? So
yeah,
that's pretty much it. And another thing is, don't let anyone box you in. Don't let anyone put you in a box artistically. I hate when people do that. I hate when people are like, oh, you sound like this, or your style's like this, or you rap like this, or they compare you to other people.
Mm-hmm.
No, just do what you want to do. Switch it up if you want to switch it up. Don't let people put you in a box. So
cool.
That's pretty much it.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate you coming up here.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Yeah, no. This is it's our pleasure. We were supposed to go down and do it at your studio. Carmine was going to go down there, visit his grandma, but he was like, fuck my grandma. She leaves me long-ass voicemails. Come up here.
I didn't want to murder my grandma. Is that okay with you?
But yeah, dude, this has been great, man. And again, thanks for your time. And thanks for being patient with all this, doing the IG live and all that shit, man. And all the luck to you, brother.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
it.
She let me hit one time cause she too bad. Not a whole crew smash, but she still fine, no, yeah. Keep it 100 with me, I'ma keep it 100 with you till the sky fall down. Yeah, I'm counting like 1, 2, 3. Have a bad bitch.